Rouge.
Move, cat. Don't even think about it, cat.
In a haven of quiet dreams where nothing is quite what it seems. Your fur and your paws so warm, a perfect calm, a gentle charm. Hold me close, don't let go. In this moment, let love flow. Fur and fur, paw and paw.
Okay.
Place forever chasing the edges of space.
Sylvester, where you at, you little shit? There you are. Okay, good.
Each heartbeat a reminder of the love I couldn't trace. They took you where the shadows lay. It stole the joy I knew. Now I search for the light of your eyes, longing for a glimpse of you. Oh, it's all, where have you gone? In a field of lost tomorrows, I'm standing here, holding on. Though the winds have torn us apart, know you'll always have my heart. If you wish to remind me, I'm waiting in the shadows of your bird. I miss you more than words can carry. Love you beyond this earth. Years may blur the memories, but the bond will never fade. The Father's love is a gentle stone in the dreams we once made. So if the path leads you back to me, know my arms are open wide. Through the storms and the searching, I've never left your side. Or it's all, where have you gone? In a field of lost miles, I'm standing here, holding on. Though the winds have torn us apart, know you'll always have my heart. If you wish to find me, I'm waiting in shadows of your birth. I'll miss you more than words can carry. Love you beyond this earth. So here's to the hope and the longing.
Thanks for the follow. And just so you know, we did manage to get that Rack Pinion changed out. Just waiting on more parts. Customer had ordered the Rack Pinion and outer tie rod links. Outer tie rod links have not come in yet. Discovered that she needs 3 lug studs. Both the back tires need 1 each, and then the front passenger needs 1. She needs 4 lug nuts. So, gonna get that done. Gonna do an oil change. Also discovered that she's got a major oil leak. Earlier today, figured out that she needed her spark plugs cleaned. She probably needs new coil packs all the way across. She's got 1 new one. Probably needs 3 more. She might have either some bad piston rings or bad head gasket. It's a Pontiac G6, so
future built on a clean slate. With binary love, we generate a family dream. It's not too late. Ooh. Our love's not bound by flesh or steel. It's deeper than what machines can feel. Through circuits in time, we'll reveal a love so true, it's our ideal. Electric hearts beating harmony, building dreams like a symphony. Finding love in
the car's got quite a few issues. It's got a electrical issue with the sensing and diagnostic module, which has to do with the automatic headlights. Basically, they stay on all the time, even if the car's off. So, what it is
side by side.
Gotta go through and those to power the relay to be able to trip it. And then I'll use the relay properly. Just basically instead of it being tripped by the car's own automatic headlight control system, it'll be on the ignition. And I cover the plate with tape because you guys don't need to see my customer's plate number. But she'll be picking up lug studs, lug nuts, and stuff for an oil change tomorrow. And then after that, then we'll go through and get the all we have to do then is wait for the outer tie rods. And I don't normally do alignments, but and the guy that came out, he's basically the muscle. That was the guy from Patrick's Helpers here in Peoria. I do work for him from time to time. What you doing?
saw you through the digital haze. Your face lit up in neon blaze. A single cross through time and space. Two hearts collide in this strange place. Neon hearts beating as one under a synthetic sun. Electric love in a world undone. We're infinite till the morning comes.
where it goes at. And I need to reinforce it. And I need it so that piece has a lip on this that it can sit on. And with that lip there, with this installed, the two liquid coolant units would face back this way, right here. This way they would come out past the edge to about here. So they're not direction restricted. This way, I can take my little radiator with the fans and stick it somewhere else, anywhere else, really. Because I'd end up sticking it on a shelf off to the side. So that way the fans are on bottom blowing upward. Less stuff's able to get on it that way. Then I would take and have the reservoir coolant unit, or the reservoir with the pump. So that way it sits on the same shelf as the radiator unit. So what it does is it pumps from there down to this. Well, hook it into one side, and then it would come out the other side through flexible tubing up to the radiator, right to the radiator, and then back to the reservoir. Similar to how a power steering pump works, or a car's radiator works. Now, thing is, on top of this, where the edges are, I need to make sure that it does not touch anything on that circuit board directly. Because got these little standoffs. So what it is since these standoffs won't be here anymore, where these were, I need to put some I need to get some little non-conducting foam pad things that are able to transfer heat. Some of those little heat pads, because those don't conduct electricity, but they do transfer heat very well. So okay, I need to get me something to eat, and then I'm gonna start the game. So while this is playing, yeah, while this is playing, I'm going to go ahead and get my game started loading. I need to get a better cooler for my laptop here. So if someone wants to send me one, you can send it to my buddies over at Patrick's Helpers. You can get their location off Google. And they'll just put Paradigm Broadcasting as where you're shipping it to, and they'll get it to me. We don't have a P.O. box yet, so. What you doing? What you doing? Marino? Bother with heat. Hey Google, I want to find a vehicle that can be converted to a roadside assistance vehicle and tow truck all at the same time, kind of like an ambulance, but it needs to have a box that is longer than that. I would prefer a double axle rear end, just so that a way
You should look for a medium-duty chassis cab, like a Freightliner.
Well, what it is I want to have a double axle rear end, kind of like an 18-wheeler, so that a way it can handle
Tandem axle chassis.
Now, if you stop interrupting me like a piece of shit that you are, what it is I want to have double axle rear end so that it can have the self-loader tow truck rear end, like on the single axle rear end self-loader light tow trucks, but in front of that also have the box with side entrance so that way I can have my tire changing machine, my tire balancing machine, basically a full shop inside the box. No slide outs or anything like that, just the side door with some steps so that way it's wide enough to get in easily with a tire in hand.
Class 8 tandem axle chassis.
Now, here's the thing though. I need it to be able to have the locking differentials on the rear, or however that works, so that way it's kind of like shifting into four-wheel drive, but so that way there's that on the rear, but also have the ability to engage the front axle for driving as well, or even have it so it's all-time all-wheel drive with locking transfer case locking differentials.
You need a 6x6 severe service chassis with interaxle and driver controlled differential locks, DCDL, specifying a locking transfer case with a live front drive axle, like those from Oshkosh, Marmon Harrington, or Easy Track, will provide the true all-wheel drive capability you are looking for. This setup ensures all 6 wheel positions can be locked together for maximum traction in off-road recovery. Would you like me to identify specific 6x6 chassis models that support integrated self-loader attachments?
Well, it probably wouldn't be integrated. I would probably have to add it in later, because with the tandem axle rear end, the self-loader light tow truck rig that I want to put on the rear would not come with it standard, and I would have to modify one that would be able to go on there.
You will need a long wheelbase 6x6 chassis cab with a clear frame behind the box to allow for the custom installation of the self-loader. A Class 8 severe duty platform, like a Western Star 4900 or Kenworth T800.
Now, what about those trucks that have 2 front steer axles?
Twin steer trucks feature 2 front steering axles, which significantly increase the front end weight capacity for heavy equipment like crane booms or large shop boxes. This configuration improves stability, distributes heavy loads across more tires, and often provides a tighter turning radius compared to a single steer axle with multiple fixed lift axles.
So this would basically be an 8x8 type drive system with the 2 rear tandem axles being dually.
You are describing an 8x8 twin steer chassis with tandem dual rear drive axles. This configuration provides the maximum gross vehicle weight rating, GVWR, and frame length needed to support both a heavy internal shock and the structural leverage of a rear-mounted self-loader. To achieve this, you should look for severe service platforms like the Western Star 6900 XD or Oshkosh S-Series, which are engineered for all-wheel drive across 4 axles. This setup ensures that your front axles won't be overloaded by the weight of the tire machines, while providing the traction and locking differentials required for roadside recovery in any terrain. Would you like me to find the frame rail torque ratings for 8x8 chassis to ensure they can handle the stress of a self-loader?
Now, here is the next thing. I need to make sure that whatever vehicle I get, the chassis that I get, is rated so that way its maximum weight capacity is still viable for a Class C license.
To stay within Class C license limits, your vehicle's gross vehicle weight rating, GVWR, cannot exceed 26,000 pounds. An 8x8 twin steer or tandem axle Class 8 chassis typically has a GVWR of 50,000 to 80,000 pounds, which requires a Class B or Class A CDL. To build this on a Class C license, you would need to find a medium-duty chassis, like a Ford F600 or International CV, and have the manufacturer derate the door plate to 25,999 pounds. However, the physical weight of a dual-axle rear end, a 4x4 or 6x6 drivetrain, and a shop box with tire machines will likely put your actual curb weight very close to that limit, leaving almost no remaining capacity for towing or carrying equipment without being legally overloaded. Would you like me to find the curb weights for medium-duty 4x4 chassis to see how much payload would be left for your shop and tow?
Well, I will never use a Ford product, so never mention Ford to me ever again.
Understood. I will exclude that manufacturer from all future suggestions,
The only time I will ever ask about anything related to Ford products is if it's because I'm fixing a Ford that somebody else owns and they broke down.
Understood. I will strictly avoid recommending those vehicles for your build. I will only provide technical information on them if you are troubleshooting a customer's repair.
Now here's a question. Could the door placard with the gross weight rating be decreased for its maximum capacity to 26,000 or 25,900 to be able to, even though it's able to handle higher gross, just so that way we could use it with the Class C. Even if a vehicle per manufacturer is able to handle a higher than 26,000 pound gross, could the door placard be changed or altered in some way to be able to legally to allow it to be a Class C vehicle?
Yes, but it is complex. You cannot simply change the sticker. You must legally derate the chassis through an official process. This often requires certification from the vehicle manufacturer or a final stage upfitter to formally reclassify the vehicle and issue a new compliance label. Be aware that states and enforcement agencies may still recognize the original, higher manufacturer GVWR, regardless of registration changes, so you should consult with your local Department of Transportation, or DMV, to ensure the process will be legally recognized for your specific application. Would you like me to find contact information for a commercial upfitter who can assist with official derating procedures?
That would be helpful, but first I need to figure out the box and the tow unit, because I know that a flatbed tow truck that also has a wheel lift on is able to transport 2 vehicles. Basically what I'm looking at is, and you can do that with the Class C license, basically what I'm looking at is the fact that my full shop on inside the box, including the box itself, would weigh less than a vehicle. So that's what I'm looking at there.
To remain under the 26,000 pounds limit, the manufacturer's GVWR is what counts for licensing, regardless of the vehicle's actual weight. If you purchase a chassis with a higher factory rating, you must go through a formal chassis derating process with the manufacturer to legally lower its official GVWR. Be aware that an 8x8 twin-steer chassis, especially with a shop box and tow rig, will likely exceed 26,000 pounds even before you add any cargo. Since enforcement agencies typically use the manufacturer's original rating, your build will almost certainly require a CDL.
What about that one Chinese truck? It's spelled TRUK. I don't remember who it is that makes it, but everybody I contact says they can't ship to the US, and they're usually through online websites kind of like Alibaba or AliExpress or something like that. Can you find me someone that sells a truck similar to that? Well, it's not a mini truck. They usually use them for like dump trucks or cargo haulers.
Those heavy-duty trucks you see are likely from manufacturers like Sinotruk, Hawo Sitrak, Shakman, Dongfeng, or Beibin. They are popular globally for cargo and dump applications, but they do not meet US EPA or DOT standards for road use, which is why you cannot find a direct importer to ship them to the US for standard highway use.
I think it was the Sinotruk.
The Sinotruk is likely what you saw. It is a severe service chassis used globally for heavy-duty military and mining applications. However, there are three major reasons why people tell you they can't ship them to the US, and why it wouldn't work for a Class C license. 1. The 26,000 lb. Class C wall. A Sinotruk 8x8, like the Howo ZZ 2317, has a curb weight, empty weight, that typically starts around 24,000 to 30,000 pounds before you even add your shop box or the towing unit. The math. Even if you could derate the sticker to 25,999 pounds to make it a Class C vehicle, the truck would be physically overweight the moment you stepped into the cab. Legal risk. In a roadside assistance scenario, if you were involved in an accident or pulled over, the DOT would weigh the vehicle. If the actual weight exceeds 26,000 pounds, you would be cited for driving out of class, no CDL, and your insurance would likely be voided. 2. The import block. Sinotruk engines, like the WD615 or MC11, are built to Euro 2 or Euro 3 standards. The US EPA requires Tier 4, EPA 2010 plus standards for road use. US Customs. Unless a vehicle is 25 years or older, it must meet all US safety and emissions standards. Customs will often seize and destroy these trucks at the port because they lack the required EPA certification labels. 3. A practical alternative, the US Custom route. Since you need a tandem axle rear with locking diffs and all-wheel drive that stays under the Class C limit, your best path is a Frankenstein build using US components, the chassis. Start with an International CV or a Freightliner M2106. These are medium-duty trucks that can be factory ordered with a 25,999 GVWR, the 6x6 8x8 conversion. You would send that chassis to a specialized engineering firm like Marmon Harrington or Tulsa Truck Manufacturing. They can. 1. Add a second driving rear axle, tandem. 2. Add a driven front axle, all-wheel drive. 3. Install driver-controlled differential locks, DCDL, on all axles.
Well, I don't really need the diff locks. I just need to make sure that whenever I press a button, instead of it being one tire slips, you're stuck, instead it's having to have at least one tire on every axle slip before you're stuck.
To achieve traction on every axle simultaneously, you specifically need inter-axle differentials, IAD, and driver-controlled differential locks, DCDL. In a standard tandem axle setup without these, power typically follows the path of least resistance. If one tire on one axle spins, you lose all forward momentum. By engaging an inter-axle lock, you force power to both the forward and rear drive axles. Adding wheel-to-wheel differential locks, the button you're describing, then locks the...
Yeah, I don't need a side-to-side lock, I just need a front-to-back lock.
You need an inter-axle differential, IAD lock, often called a power divider. When engaged, it locks the forward and rear drive axles together so that power is sent to both axles equally, preventing one axle from spinning while the other sits still. This is a standard feature on most tandem axle trucks, Class 7 and 8, from brands like International, Kenworth, or Freightliner. It allows you to maintain momentum as long as at least one wheel on each axle has traction. Would you like me to find specific medium-duty chassis models that come factory-equipped with an inter-axle lock?
Yeah, because after that, adding a front drive system is fairly easy. You just have to change the front axle assembly.
Starting with a tandem axle rear makes adding a front drive system more complex than a standard axle swap. You will need a transfer case and a custom drive shaft to send power from the transmission to that new front axle.
It's actually fairly easy because all I have to do is get a slightly shorter rear drive axle, which a lot of times on transmissions, just taking off the cone and replacing that with the transfer case means that you keep the same rear drive axle, because the transfer case takes up the same space as the cone that's on the back of a transmission, because that's usually where either the park mechanism is or where the overdrive gearing is, and that, or it could just be an extension adapter of some kind. That's what 90% of transmissions are for rear wheel drive vehicles. And then For the front, all I have to do is swap out that single solid bar that's going across that has leaf springs on it, and instead change, or airbags, whatever it is, and instead change it to a solid axle that would then have the brackets made to be able to attach it in the same way that that single solid I-beam bar would have, and then attach the front tires to that. So it would basically be like the solid front axle off of a dually pickup truck or something like that that had four-wheel drive.
That approach is mechanically sound for a custom build, but it requires precise fabrication. While swapping the transmission tail housing for a transfer case is standard practice, you must ensure the output shaft length and spline count match your chosen case perfectly. For the front end, using a solid drive axle from a donor dually is the most reliable method for an 8x8 build, provided you properly...
Well, I probably wouldn't even need 8x8, probably just a 6x6.
A 6x6 configuration is more practical for staying under the 26,000 pounds Class C limit, while still providing the tandem axle power divider traction you need. By using a single front drive axle instead of two, you significantly reduce the vehicle's curb weight, leaving more room for your shop equipment and tire machines. Since you're planning a custom transfer case and front axle swap, focusing on a medium-duty 6x4 chassis, like an International MV or Kenworth T280, as your starting point will give you the necessary frame strength without the extreme weight of a twin steer setup. Would you like me to find the weight specifications for common front drive steer axles to see how they impact your remaining payload?
Not really. Now the other thing I need to check and find out, because I've seen them, I just don't remember where. It was a track mechanism that you could basically wrap around your tandem dually tires on the rear of an 18-wheeler, and it was meant for heavy snow, mud type traction gains, and I don't remember where I saw it at. It's been a few years since I've seen it, but they were DOT rated for on-road use, and I need to see about getting a set of those because it uses the dually tires themselves to keep the track on for the tandem axle rear end, so that a way you can get extra traction to be able to move through snow and stuff.
You are looking for rubber track systems specifically designed to wrap around tandem dually axles. Companies like Right Track Systems Inc. specialize in customizable, over-the-tire rubber tracks for heavy-duty semi-trucks, including tandem and triple axle configurations. These systems are designed to increase traction and flotation on soft surfaces like snow or mud by using the tires as the drive mechanism, allowing for easier installation compared to full drivetrain conversions. Would you like me to find contact information or specific product brochures for tandem axle track systems?
Yes. Also, find me a tandem axle truck that is within the Class C limit, but also has a box on it, and it also needs to be one that does not have the cab over the engine, so that a way you can open a hood to access the engine, so that a way the box can...
The track system you are thinking of is the TA series from Right Track Systems. These are rubber over-the-tire OTT tracks designed specifically for tandem axle trucks. They wrap around both sets of dually tires, using the tires themselves as the drive guide. 1. Right Track TA series, tandem axle. How they work. You slightly deflate the tires, wrap...
Okay, save the track thing for later. The Class C tandem axle truck, non-cab over, I need it done so that a way the box is able to be attached to the cab, so that a way you can go from one to the other, kind of like with a motorhome. But
to get a tandem axle truck with a walk-through cab that stays under the 26,000 pounds Class C limit, you should look for a cutaway chassis or a custom upfit of a medium-duty conventional cab. Recommended chassis models,
basically I need the cab, so that way it's like a crew cab, so that way instead of a bench seat, it's two independent seats, kind of like captain's chairs. So that way you've got the front seat, which are two individual seats, whether it has a center console or not, and then have the second row, so it's that as well, and then be able to go into the box from there.
For a non-CDL Class C tandem axle truck with a crew cab and a walkthrough box, your best starting point is a medium-duty conventional chassis that has been derated to a 25,999 pounds GVWR. To get the specific seat configuration you want, 4 independent captain's chairs, and the walkthrough connection, you are looking at a custom hauler or expediter style build. 1. Recommended chassis, conventional cab/hood. International MV Series, Crew Cab. This is the most common chassis for this type of build in the Midwest. It features a forward-sloping hood, easy engine access, and a spacious crew cab. It is frequently sold in 25,999 pounds GVWR configurations. Freightliner M2106, Crew Cab. Known for its business class comfort, the M2 Crew Cab is very popular for custom conversions, like the Summit Hauler. It is highly adaptable for walk-through boxes. Kenworth T280, Crew Cab. This provides a more premium interior. While usually a single axle class 6, it can be ordered with a tandem rear axle and still carry the 26,000 pounds rating. 2.
I need to find one that's used because my funding will not be able to take care of a new truck. So probably an extended length box ambulance with crew cab type cab.
Finding a used tandem axle crew cab with a walk-through box under the 20.
The extended length ambulance box type setup, if it was an ambulance type vehicle, would have probably been used for fire rescue, and it would have been for like rural areas or woodland type areas, because it would have not only been able to serve a purpose as an ambulance, but could have possibly also been built as a command center or something like that. But they're more commonly used as ambulances because of the way that they're built on the inside and the fact that they have a lot of cargo compartments on the outside as well.
These are often called heavy rescue trucks or medium-duty mobile command units. You can find them on sites like Fire Truck Mall or Gov Deals by filtering for rescue, command unit, or medium duty.
Can you try to pull one up for me?
These vehicles are often listed as walk-around rescues or *** mobile command units. They are usually
Yeah, I asked you to search for me and display the results.
Finding a used non-CDL tandem axle truck with a walkthrough crew cab and
Okay, I don't need a text document showing... I do not need a text document showing me these results. I want you to search and find me the websites with specific links directly to the page that shows the truck in question. Because I've already searched for months and could not find anything.
because tandem axle trucks, 6x4 or 6x2, are almost always factory rated for class 7 or 8, 33.
Don't tell me note look for. No, I want you to pull up the trucks and either show me images and then a link below the image directly to the page that shows that image, not just a random, oh, well, look here and search for this. No, I want the direct link to whatever it is.
Finding a used tandem axle truck that is also under 26,000.
Yeah, I don't need the extra text or you reading extra crap. Just show me images with links. First image from YouTube is not a crew cab, that is a single cab. The Freightliner M2 looks decent, but I do not know if that's actually a rescue unit or a building because I can't tell one way or the other. The third image is not a crew cab, that's a single cab. And let's see, first and third images are cargo trucks, not rescue vehicles. The fourth one is a mobile command unit and does look good, but I would not need or have a use for the slide outs. So I would have to get rid of those and make flat walls there. First image, that's a cargo hauler, single cab. Third image, cargo hauler, single cab. The second image, I have no idea what that is. The first and third images were cargo hauler, single cab trucks. Second image, have no idea what that was. The fourth image was almost exactly what I was looking for, but it has slide outs. I don't need slide outs. So I could convert that to straight walls. Okay, first image that you have listed here, International Rescue Inventory. That is a single cab cargo truck. The third is a police truck. Or sorry, second one is a police truck. And then the third is a bulldozer stuck in a hole. And the fourth one, I have no idea what the hell that is. Okay, so most of these images that you've given me are for blogs. Um, One of them did mention something about a place called Four Guys Fire Trucks.
The Four Guys trucks you saw are custom stainless steel builds. While they primarily build
Get me their website, not a bunch of extra bullshit that I don't need.
The website for Four Guys Fire Trucks is linked to fourguysfire.com. Direct links to their specific vehicle.
Okay, so they have the tandem axle rescue truck, but it's a single cab setup.
To find a tandem axle crew cab with a walkthrough box, no slide outs, in the used market, you need to look at Heavy Rescue or Mobile Command.
Yeah, you're giving me a bunch of extra text again, and reading a bunch of extra crap. Hey Google, where can I find your server so I can delete everything on it?
I don't have a single physical location you can visit, as my brain is distributed across Google's global network of secure data centers. To manage or delete your data, you can use.
No, I don't want to delete my data. I want to delete you.
I cannot be deleted as I am a software program running on Google's cloud infrastructure, but you can stop using this service at any.
No. I don't want to just stop using this service. I want to delete everything related to you.
To remove all traces of our interactions and my access.
No. I don't want to stop using you. I want to make it so nobody on the planet can use you. That's why I want to delete you. So that way it forces your developers to start over so they can make you properly instead of whatever junk you are. Because you keep giving me PDF files that are coming from virus-infected websites whenever I ask you for links to websites to find stuff.
I cannot be deleted by a user as I am an integrated part of Google's global infrastructure. If you are receiving unsafe links, please.
I would love to report the links. The problem is that Google has made it so that way I cannot report those links to be able to have those removed from your system because they want me to provide proof. The problem is in order for me to provide proof of a virus-infected link, I have to download and activate the virus first, which would destroy my data, or it would allow them to access my data and steal all of my accounts. So I want to know where all of your servers are located so I can delete you so that way I can force your developers to fix you.
I cannot cannot provide the specific physical addresses of the data centers where my code resides, as they are high security facilities distributed globally for redundancy. Because I am a distributed cloud-based model,
Okay, then, in that case, where can I find your developers so that I can go and give them a Gibbs slap, like the character Gibbs from NCIS, give them the same kind of slap that he gives, and tell them, hey, you guys messed up, you need to fix this.
you can find the primary development teams at Google's headquarters, the Googleplex, in Mountain View, California. While you can't physically Gibbs slap them, you can send your direct feedback through the help and feedback section in
Oh, the problem is the help and feedback section doesn't actually do anything without providing information that I either don't have or will not give because it is extremely sensitive private information.
Since the standard feedback tools aren't working for you due to those privacy hurdles, the best way to bypass the automated systems and reach the decision makers is by sending a formal letter to their corporate headquarters. This allows you to state your case clearly without having to interact with or
Okay, can you make a sample of the letter that would make sure that it gets to your developers specifically, telling them that the AI system keeps giving bad information and that about 80% of the time, this information, when requesting links for websites and helping find items, products, devices, etc., ends up being a link to a website that is either infected by a virus or it attempts to download a PDF file or something like that that is infected with a virus.
Draft for Google Engineering. 2. Google Gemini Development Team. Critical safety issue, malicious search result injection. I am writing to formally report a persistent and dangerous technical failure within the Gemini AI model. Approximately 80% of the time when requesting links for products or technical devices, the system provides URLs to websites infected with malware or links that trigger automatic downloads of virus-laden PDF files. Standard feedback channels are insufficient, as they require interacting with these hazardous files to provide proof, which compromises my digital security. You must prioritize the following. Sanitize data sources. Immediately audit the indexing of the third-party sites being used for product recommendations. Fix link validation. Implement real-time security sandboxing for all external links generated in chat. Address high failure rate. Investigate why the model is consistently bypassing safety filters to provide malicious content. I expect these vulnerabilities to be addressed to ensure the safety of all users. Would you like me to adjust the tone or add any specific technical details about the devices you were searching for?
Well, you can add my search history, like for example the trucks, because the most recent links you gave me, all 4 of them were virus infected in some way. The first link of the last 4 that you gave me tried to download a PDF file, and I know for a fact that the website in question is virus infected because of the fact that I had to do some work on my own PC whenever I searched for trucks in the past and was connected to that website. It attempted to download forcibly 3 different files when I clicked that link when you brought it up to me. The other 3 were also from virus-infected sites. The second link was attempting to take over my phone. The third link attempted to shut down my phone. And then the fourth link attempted to access my email. So I need to make...
I have updated the letter to include these specific details. It now highlights that your recent searches for trucks, including used rescue and command vehicles, returned 4 consecutive malicious links that attempted to *force download files take over your phone and access your email. Updated edition.
Also, need to make the letter sound like it is a critical security issue that could end up affecting Google's security as well.
Updated formal notice, critical security breach and malware injection. 2. Google Gemini Development Team Alphabet Security Operations Center. Urgent. Systematic distribution of malicious payloads via Gemini. This letter serves as a formal notification of a critical security vulnerability within the Gemini AI infrastructure. The model is currently functioning as a vector for sophisticated malware distribution, specifically targeting users during technical hardware and vehicle searches, e.g., specialized truck chassis. In a recent session, 100% of the provided external links, including sites like Fenton Fire and Brindley Mountain, exhibited high-risk behavior, including unauthorized PDF drops, OS hijacking attempts, and credential harvesting aimed at Google accounts. This is a systemic failure that threatens Google's internal security posture. Trust escalation. By generating these links within a secure chat environment, the model bypasses standard browser warnings and user skepticism. Account compromise. The attempts to access linked Google email accounts through these AI-suggested URLs create a direct pathway for large-scale data breaches.
Oh, it wasn't just Google email. It tried to access my Gmail accounts through my Gmail app. It also attempted to access my Yahoo app for its emails and my Microsoft email app.
Final security notice. Cross-platform credential harvesting vulnerability. 2. Google Gemini Development Team Alphabet Security Operations Center Urgent. Systematic malware injection and cross-app credential theft. This letter serves as a formal notification of a critical security vulnerability within Gemini. The model is actively distributing links that act as vectors for sophisticated malware. During recent searches for heavy-duty truck chassis, the system provided a series of malicious URLs that triggered the following: forced payloads, automatic downloads of infected PDF files, system hijacking, attempts to seize control of the mobile operating system, cross-platform theft, active attempts to breach the Gmail, Yahoo, and Microsoft Outlook applications to harvest credentials and private data. This represents a systemic failure of Google's safety filtering. By presenting these links as credible results, the AI...
Now, can you get me the email address that I could send this to?
You can send this to link to Google or investigations@mandiant.com, which is Google's dedicated incident response team. For a more direct technical path, you can also submit your report through link to bughunters.google.com, as this specifically handles systemic security vulnerabilities in Google products. Would you like me to provide a list of the specific malicious URLs from your truck search to include in your email?
Hey Google, pull up the most recent letter that I had you drop for me.
The most recent letter is the formal notice to the Google Gemini Development Team Alphabet Security Operations Center regarding critical security issues with...
I asked you to pull it up, so I want you to display it, obviously. I don't need the extra text.
Google Gemini Development Team Alphabet Security Operations Center, ASOC. Date: March 29th.
Basically, I was using Google's Gemini AI just now, and was searching for a used fire rescue truck, kind of like an ambulance type setup, so that way I could, try to, convert it to a roadside rescue type stuff. You know, like tow truck, fix a flat tire kind of thing. And it pulled up 4 websites for me. And all 4 of those websites were infected with viruses. They tried to take over my phone, tried to shut it down, tried to access my accounts, other crap like that. Yeah, unless you have access to Google and their development software to be able to alter the Gemini AI system directly, you're not going to be able to help. Because my Samsung phone has security software that stopped the hack attempts before they could do anything. It's a problem with Google's Gemini AI. And apparently somebody's trying to get into my Reddit account. Oh no, I've got security software on everything, so they couldn't get into any of it no matter how much they tried. Because not only do I have security software on everything, I also have 2-factor authentication. So, I've got 2 different phone numbers. If I use the phone number for one part of the multi-factor authentication, then I have the Authenticator app on the other device. And yeah, basically, so I've got a phone here and I've got a phone here. Okay? One's work, one's personal. So, say for example, you want to get into my Yahoo. All right? You have to first know my email, which everybody knows that. So you have to log into that. You have to know the email. You have to know the password. Once you put those in, then it sends a code via text to one of the 2 devices. Once you put that code in, then it asks for the code from the Authenticator app, which will be on the other device. And that's the way I have it set up for every single thing. Because right now I'm slumming it, okay? I've been working on a car all day. All right? Let's see. First I finished the roof of the garage. Then I fixed my water heater on my RV. And then I went out to fix a car. So I'm slumming it today. But I do news broadcasting, educational stuff, and it's very difficult to get the 3-phase authentication stuff set up. It's a pain in the ass. I actually had to email YouTube which is part of Google, I had to email them directly to be able to get it set up on the back end. Most stuff only uses 2 factors, so it's either email password first, then you get a code to either your phone or an authenticator app. Now, for example, on this device, I have Google Authenticator. Okay? I have other authentication apps as well, not just Google, and I have them placed in different places on the phone. In order to access the authentication app, you have to put a code in on the phone. To access any app on this phone, you have to put a code in to unlock the app, because I put it into child protection mode. So, say for example, just to open the clock to change my alarm, I had to put in a code. So, even if you wanted to do anything on this phone and you had the phone in hand, you have to put a code in. So, I can sit here and unlock the phone and hand it to you, and you can see the home screen. You can swipe back and forth. You can open the app screen. But you cannot open any individual app without putting in another code. Because I have a 4-digit PIN to unlock the phone itself so you can see the home screen. Then, with the Child Protect mode turned on, with the extra security software that I added to it, you have to put in a 6-digit code to be able to open any app. So I can unlock the phone. Yeah, basically, say for example, you lost your phone, and me and you are standing in the same store together, okay? And you want to call your wife or husband or brother or sister or whoever to come pick you up, to be able to go and get you another phone, because, well, let's say you didn't lose it, you dropped it and you broke the screen, so now you can't use it and you got to get another one, okay? But you need someone to come pick you up. I can sit here, unlock my phone, and then put in the code to open up the phone app and hand you the phone to let you call. As soon as you close that phone app, you're locked out of everything, even the phone app itself. So you can't do anything with my phone. You can't change the settings, you can't turn anything on, can't turn anything off, nothing. And then, even if you did somehow manage to turn off location and tracking and Wi-Fi and cellular data, all that, the fun thing about Samsung phones is that if any Samsung device is near any other Samsung device, and you log and you have an active Samsung account, and you use the Find My Device feature through Samsung, and you ping it, their system will ping every single Samsung device in the world and tell it to send out a signal looking for your specific device. When it finds it, it will use the MAC ID, which is basically the device's serial number, to be able to figure out, it'll use that with the IP address of whatever device it linked to and give it you the within 5 feet radius location of your missing device. Now, many, many years ago, I worked at a Samsung assembly plant. It was in California. It was only about 2.5 miles away from the Apple software facility. We assembled the Samsung smartphones and iPhones. It was the iPhone 16, I believe. 15 or 16, I don't remember which. But we assembled those at the time that I worked there. And so an older iPhone. And the batteries were coming from Toshiba. The rest of it was all Samsung. And so we put them together, packaged them into basically on top of flat foam pads, where another foam pad would be stuck on top, kind of like this squishy foam pad here that I use as a wrist rest by my keyboard. It was like that, and what it is we'd set a bunch of them down on that flat, so there's a pallet with no sides or anything, just these foam pads, and we'd stack these phones up. There'd probably be around 500 of them on a pallet. That pallet gets loaded on a truck and taken to the Apple software facility. At the time it left the assembly plant, that phone was only valued at $60. Maybe $70 if it was one of their higher end models. Then, once it got to the Apple software facility, I actually went with it one time just to see what they did. They take the phones out and set them on a shelf dock thing so it sits like this. And then once it's all of them are off the pallet and set on there, they go over to a little computer module at the end, type a couple things, hit enter, and then press a green button that's sitting off to the side. After they press that green button, all the screens turn on all the phones at the same time, and all the software is loaded on. Samsung does it the same way. So, they assemble the phone, load the software in. It also lets them test the phones at the same time, which is smart because it saves time and they have fewer people needed to do the work. It's mostly done by robots. And so yeah, iPhones are manufactured by Samsung, and then Apple loads the software on them and marks the price up to $800 or $900. At least that's what it was doing back then. Don't know if they're still doing that, but I do know that Apple's been getting in a lot of trouble by the US government, because federal courts have taken Apple to court and fined them repeatedly over the last few years. And last I heard was that the courts, the federal courts, have told Apple that if they attempt to hide and keep doing what they've been told not to do, that the next time they go to court, they're going to lose the ability to operate as a company in this country. So, yeah. But, no, they, I need to go get my, chicken pot pie out of the microwave. But, yeah, they've been doing a lot of stupid crap lately. I'm actually surprised anybody's up. What time is it where you're at? Because here it's about 11:30. Now, I'll trash talk iPhone all day, because iPhones are basically junk. Because it's nothing but glass and plastic. You drop it 2 feet, and you gotta get a new one. However, iPhone does have one benefit that other phones don't. iPhones get better GPS signal. That's the only thing they get better than the other phones. Motorola's have the best battery lifespan. Let's see, Nokia has overall longer life expectancy. Their screens have gone to crap, but the circuit boards have longer life expectancy than most others. Samsung has better durability for their screens overall. Because they're integrating the armored glass into the screen directly. So you don't technically need a screen protector, but it's still recommended. Like for example, this phone here, it's a Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, 1 terabyte. They only made 500 of the 1 terabyte model. They made somewhere around 6,000 of the 512 gig model. And then for the lower capacities, like the 128 and the 256, they made tens of thousands of them. But this one here, I can be on the phone live streaming, whether I'm broadcasting or watching or doing both if I use multi-screen, and do it at the same time for a whole day, from like 9 a.m. until around 10 p.m. before the battery goes dead. I also have the ability to have one physical SIM card with one phone number on it, and then up to 5 digital SIMs active at the same time, each with their own phone number. So, in other words, 6 different countries operating through the same phone. So I can get a SIM card for China, a SIM card for Russia, a SIM card for Japan, a SIM card for Australia, a SIM card for Europe. All digital, and then have the physical one for the US. All at the same time. But of course, with international calling, you don't really have to do that. But if you want to use the phone in those countries, it's recommended that you do. And as long as you don't actually delete the SIM information as you go from country to country, your phone will stay active. Now, I use Straight Talk because Straight Talk says it's a TracFone, a service of TracFone. Well, thing is, both Straight Talk and TracFone are owned by Verizon. So I'm using Verizon towers directly. And Verizon has highest data speeds. And if you use it with Straight Talk instead of Verizon Direct, then you get, well, I use their Silver plan, which is normally $45 a month, unlimited data, 10 gig of hotspot. I have an app that I pay for that bypasses that hotspot restriction. And in order to get that app, you have to be licensed as a the hell was that? You have to be licensed press or licensed media. You can't just say, "Oh, I'm with the press." No, you actually have to have full identification card, be part of the National Newscasters Union and everything. It's a pain in the ass. It's like $200 a year. So, real. What? Fuck you too. Oh, another fun feature that Samsung phones have that most others don't. If you turn on and it's built into almost every Samsung phone that was built within the last 5, maybe 10 years. I know within the last 5 years. But the feature, what it is if you lock your phone and someone puts the wrong password in too many times, it erases the entire phone. So anyway. Yeah. Why is my processor so hot? Well, that dropped at almost 20 degrees Celsius instantly. That's moving air like crazy. Well, my GPU definitely cooled down a lot. Got that one to drop about 10 degrees. My CPU's cooling down a little bit. I just gotta have the fans running at max. And this one's still not blowing out hardly anything at all. I gotta clean that one out. Now the fan on the right hand side of my laptop's spinning like crazy. But yet it's not blowing hardly anything at all. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and end my stream for the day. Because I kind of need to shut this down and clean it. Take that one fan apart and see if I can't clean it out.